Hello everyone, it is Sunday night and we are coming to you live from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals to talk about all of our favorite books this week as we wind down your weekend. As always, I'm your host Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, and I am way too excited about way too many comics. And it's going to be so much fun. This week we actually got in a ton of the comics that we've been waiting on. There's been a lot of shipping delays. It's the worst shipping time of the year. And so there has been a lot of delays from, either the shipping companies or some of the distribution companies having a little bit of trouble getting everything out this time. So we actually got 3 weeks worth of our Diamond comics all in 1 week, which means I had a big plan to talk about all of the packages from all of you incredible, wonderful creators that have been sending me stuff. I've been reading up on all of that, getting really stoked for it. But now I have 3 weeks worth of comics that I had to read. So we're going to do those this week, and then all of our amazing gifts we're going to be opening up very soon. Do not fret. We are reading them. We are loving them. We are excited about them, and we can't wait to tell all of you viewers about them. So keep tuning in because they are coming. And now we're back on schedule for our books for the first time since November 1st. We are completely caught up on our weekly new releases. So I'm really excited to talk about way too many books this week because they all showed up. So yay, shipping. We did it. Congratulations. We're going to toast you with a glass of wine as we wind down our weekend, we are drinking this week Ye Old Buck Shack. I have no idea what this is. It was literally the only one that I saw that we hadn't had before. It is a Cab Sav. It is, it literally doesn't even have in the description any of the notes or things that they do. It's just got this story about the Buck Shack itself on the back. So I have no taste palette going into this. It's all going to be whatever comes out of this when I take a drink. So, it smells strong. Let's see. It's very dark. I like the color. I'm not even sure I know what that is still. Grapes, obviously.
I like it. It tastes like one of those bourbon barrel things, but without the bourbon barrel.
Yeah, it kind of does have the oaky, smoked oak taste to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it doesn't have that. And I wonder if that's the thing. I'm going to see what it actually says. It says, nestled deep in our vineyard stood a dilapidated 100-year-old skinning shed called Ye Old Buck Shack. We love the beauty and history of this old building. We restored it and converted it into the whiskey bar on our property called Sheep Camp. The shack looks and feels like an old Western movie, and it serves as a special place for us to gather and use bad judgment, which is hilarious. But yeah, I guess they're whiskey people at the Ye Old Buck Shack winery vineyard. So I guess that's probably where we're getting some of that wood oak flavor in this. I also kind of like that it's a complete and total mystery as to what I'm drinking in this wine. That's kind of cool. You have to kind of figure it out yourself. And again, it is a Cab Sav, so it's kind of gonna have a lot of those flavors. Those lots of the grapes, and I'm just surprised at how woody it tastes. I really didn't think this. Honestly, do you know why I got this? I lied. I said that I got it because it was the only one I didn't recognize, but I remember now. I got it because it was bottled by the Shannon family, and I thought it was cool that it had my name on it. So that's actually why. But no, so far so good. I can't wait to see even more how this opens up because as just straight out of the bottle, there's a lot of really strong flavors coming out. And so I can't wait to see what happens as it opens up, and we're going to probably check back in for that because, again, there's tons of books, so I'll probably need another drink halfway through this at least. We, of course, as always, want to just do a shout out for all the fun things we did this week. One was that we had our Story Spelunkers Kids Book Club. Thank you to all of the kids and parents. I love that, by the way. If you are a parent of a kid who's going to be a Story Spelunker, you are totally welcome to join the Story Spelunkers program. It is so fun to have parents and kids reading together. And we had, moms and dads that came this week, and it was so awesome because I love to see them play along and do all the steps of the process. Reading the book, doing the voices, and then doing the arts and crafts or the lesson that we do afterwards. It's always fun. We had a great time. We read What If Minnie Became Captain Marvel, which is one of the new What If Disney Marvel mashups. And then we talked about what a mashup is and how you can take a character and stick them into somebody else's story. And so we had a lot of fun coming up with some really great combo characters for that. And then yesterday night we were out downtown Bradenton at the Winter Wonderland Festival. A shout out to Willie's Bradenton and the city of Bradenton for having us out for that. It was so much fun. We saw thousands of you. I think they said the number of attendance was like 8,000. Which was crazy. There were so many people there, all up and down Main Street and all the side streets. It was wild. There were so many people, and I know the riverboat parade was at this earlier and right in the middle of it, so you got a big rush at the beginning and then at the end again. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Thanks to everybody that came and made crafts with us and colored with us and wrote stories with us. We got some really great stories from some teenagers. So thanks for playing along with those hilarious stories. They were great. I learned a lot about cannibalistic gingerbread societies and the crippling depth of Christmas being every day from those teenagers. So thanks for sharing your stories with us. And speaking of stories, like I said, we have a lot of great ones tonight. We're going to be talking about them as we go. There's 50 books today, so maybe a little bit more than that. So we're going to power through them so you can find some new favorites. And maybe if there's some of these are already your favorites, please let us know. Tell us in the comments, whether you're watching live or you're watching this later on YouTube, what books you're loving right now. Whether they came out this week, they came out last week, whenever you get to your to-be-read pile, that's what's new this week for you. And so, of course, I want to hear about all the books you're loving. And then... if you are somebody who loves books, we always have our adult book clubs too. We just had that this last week where we got to talk about Paper Girls. We'll be meeting in January for Department of Truth #1, which we're really excited about because it seems well-timed. And then we're going to be... having our Ladies and Non-Binary Nerd Night this Thursday at 8 p.m. the 19th. Come join us for that. It is always a fun time. All right, I'm going to talk to you about all these books. Again, we're going to go through them. There's 3 weeks worth of Diamond, so there was a lot of books added in at the last minute because they came in late, but they did make it. We finally got them. I'm so excited. Yes, it's going to be great. All right, so we're going to kick it off with Kaya, issue 23 from Image Comics. Kaya just gets more and more beautifully drawn and designed. The panels on this issue were so cool, and on a lot of the different places. But if you like fantasy adventure stories and you haven't jumped into Kaya, you definitely need to. It's all about a young girl who believed, based off of what her elders told her, that she was the chosen one, only to find out that she actually wasn't, and it was her little brother. And right as he's supposed to go into training for it, their entire village is destroyed. And so now they've been on a 23 long issue adventure trying to get to a place where the elder gods can teach him about his power and his magic. Meanwhile, of course, everybody is hunting for them. Recently, they teamed up with a trickster god who Kaya 100% does not believe is on their side, but is the only one who can get them through this deadly area where all of the villains have been kind of congregating to chase them. And in this issue, Kaya comes face to face with a future version of herself down in a pit, possibly in a dream, possibly real, and learns what is really truly lying ahead of her. And it is not looking good for Kaya and Jen, and I really hope that they can figure it out. This has been such a long journey, and really just hope that someday it ends well for them, because nothing ever goes well for Kaya and Jen, and they could use a win. We've got Transformers issue 15. This is also from Image. It's from their Skybound imprint and our Energon universe, which, if you don't know, your Energon universe is your Transformers, G.I. Joe shared universe, which is just getting bigger and bigger. The cool thing is that this Transformers series, though, you don't really have to care or know too much about G.I. Joe to jump in, because this is focusing on the Transformer side specifically. It just kind of opened up the G.I. Joe of it all. But we have been following along. As always, the Autobots and Decepticons are in a war that has stretched to Earth, and they are trying to figure out how to get their own Cybertron planet back and up and running again with and stop their war. Maybe, of course, the Decepticons want to do that by ruling. The Autobots want to do it by bringing peace. Well, a lot of Autobots have died. And a lot of Decepticons have become more evil and have teamed up with even some bigger other characters that you may know as the story comes. You are going to get all of the Transformers you don't see in the movies with these, which is really cool. It's a lot of fun for people who are fans of Transformers right now. We are actually getting to see some of Cybertron and some of that war, and how it still stands, even though Optimus is here doing his Optimus thing. There is still a war going on back home, and it's not going well at all, as one would assume, but neither is the war here. In fact, the Autobots not really winning anywhere, so we're going to see if they can pull it off. Or if Daniel Warren Johnson's just going to keep ripping our hearts out. Space Ghost, issue 8 from Dynamite. This is the continuation of the current run of Space Ghost, which is very much like the classic cartoon kind of experience for you. Space Ghost has seen his home, of course, be destroyed. He's lost his family. He's decided to be this like space vigilante. He has recently teamed up with these 2 kids that he saved, and their space monkey, not Gleek. And they are all kind of dealing with some big bad guys right now. And in this issue, we actually learn a lot about Space Ghost's backstory, because he is facing the very villain that destroyed his life for the first time, and is like having to come face to face with the fact that he's doing the things he does for certain reasons, and those reasons are causing him to maybe not make the best choices. And he's kind of got to decide in this issue, is he a hero or is he a vigilante, and where is that going to leave him? It's a really great look at the Space Ghost story as it brings us to the next chapter. We've got Lilo and Stitch, issue 7, also from Dynamite. This is just so cute, as one would expect with the Lilo and Stitch story, and I'm so glad that this is the one that they're keeping ongoing for as long as they are. But in this arc of the Lilo and Stitch tale, because she has done such a good job taking care of Stitch, the Intergalactic Space Federation has given her other animals of wild alien nature to take care of, and in the last issue she did a good job with that, so now they've brought her 3 more. And Stitch has gotten past his jealousy of the additional friends, but is now trying to figure out, like, is he actually able to help Lilo raise these kids? And as always with Lilo, one of the things I love is she's going to kind of have to rely on her family and her friends and the community at large if she's going to continue to get this experience happening, and these alien animals safely raised to be who they want to be. And of course, she's the only one that ever understands them. I love this because it's Lilo and Stitch, and it's Greg Pak who's writing it, and so it's this is one of like your big name creators who's doing so many different things right now, and then also writing the most heartwarming Lilo and Stitch story at the same time. Love it. We've got Powerpuff Girls, issue 6, also from Dynamite. I told you we got 3 weeks of Diamond books, which includes all of our Dynamite. I'm so excited how wonderfully great this Powerpuff series has been. I didn't really watch Powerpuff Girls, but I knew of it because of my siblings, and I am super excited to get to read it and see how cute it is. And I feel like I'm like a Powerpuff Girls expert now. But in this issue, Bubbles is obsessed with a TV show, and it is going to have a marathon. And while she's watching the marathon of cuteness of her favorite show, she decides that she wishes her favorite character would come to life and she could be best friends. And that, in fact, does happen. And so Bubbles gets to go on this magical adventure with her patootie cutie friend, who is a sheep hero who turns everybody that's a bad guy into fruit. With its disgusting sheep spittle, it was actually gross. But as she does that, Bubbles realizes that this sheep doesn't always get to the bad guys, and sometimes just makes the wrong choices and is judging people in the wrong ways. And so Bubbles must learn to kind of stand up for her own thing. Which is, it's cute because she's always just so happy to just be cute all the time, and it's nice to see her have to reason and ration and make some wise choices. We've got Witchblade issue 6 from Image and the Top Cow imprints, and this is the issue that is going to lead you to find more of your Top Cow characters coming back to life. That's the one teaser to buy Witchblade number 7, I guess, that I'm going to give you. But this is kind of a reimagining, retelling, I guess, of the original Witchblade story. So we're kind of rebooting it. That's the word I'm looking for. But we've got our officer, Sarah, who has recently found herself on the force dealing with a bunch of corrupt cops, looking for a way to bring them to justice and also find the person who killed her father. And so she's like recently gotten this magical power of the Witchblade, and she doesn't want to use it. She's like completely trying to avoid using it at this moment, even though she's got somebody training her, but she totally doesn't trust him either. Well, she's finally gotten the first clue of her father's death, and it was kind of like a skeleton key, essentially, that can open any door you put it in. It will lead to the actual like magical room that it is. And the magical room is a library, and I want this key. Yeah, I was like, it's on the page right now. I want a key that opens a door to a magical library that can be any door I open will automatically lead me there. But unfortunately, that library is filled with her father's secrets, and all of the evil demons are after it, and she must figure out how to keep them from getting in while also figuring out how to get herself into it so she can learn the information she needs to figure out who her father's killers are and why these people are after her. And maybe, just maybe, the Witchblade finding her wasn't a random chance coincidence at all. I really like it. It's not a thing I ever thought I would say. I am really enjoying Witchblade. Like, in the 90s, you could not have told me that, like, if you would have said, hey, in 30 years from now, like, you're going to really enjoy the Witchblade series that's out on the shelf, I would have been like, probably not. And here we are, and I'm like, man, Marguerite Bennett, you know, just put her on the title, and you're right, I do, I love it. It's so good, and she's giving so much power to a character that kind of felt like that wasn't what they existed for before. Speaking of giving some agency to characters, we've got Chitara from the Thundercat series. This is issue 5 and from Dynamite Comics, and this is the last, I believe, of the Chitara series. It will go back just into the Thundercat story because we kind of circled to it because this has been a prequel. Learning about Chitara, which I didn't know that she was like a prophetess who saw the forecoming of the destruction of Thundara. And this has been kind of that whole journey. She is also Lion-O's mentor and working with him when he was a child and trying to help him raise up into the ways of the Thundercats and the way that he should be. And so it was kind of cool because all I've ever known of the Thundercats was that they were all like the same age, and they all seemed to just be a force of a team that worked together. And I never really got that she was, you know, somebody who could be a leader in that kind of capacity. So it was really cool to see that. But in this final issue, we do, like I said, see her visions come to fruition, which is, of course, where the Thundercat series has started in the first place. And we see them go off on their own and have to actually build a new home on the third Earth. And so yeah, it's really cool to see. If you didn't read this, it's a 5-part series. It's all over. It's just a great addition to your Thundercats lore. Hello Darkness, number 5 from Boom Studios. Everybody's got a horror anthology right now. This is Boom's, and they're doing a couple of cool little things within it. Like, all of them do have anthology stories, but then we also do get some recurring stories that either are in there every time or are rotating. This first story in this one is called The Butterfly Garden, might just be the butterflies, but it is a story about some kids who are very much in love, butterfly field, very much in love with butterflies and their experience playing with them. And it's a horror book, so some dark and creepy things come with those butterflies and the experiences of following them around and wanting to be them. But it is entirely silent issue, so it's really actually more creepy. It has some very Junji Ito-esque kind of moments towards that. We also get the next installment of James Tynion's Something is Killing the Children spin-off story that's in here, which is actually of an adventure of Erica Slaughter, just her on a mission that she is doing, and she's in a bar trying to get that information from some people, and I am not going to show you that, but it is all as crazy as bar stories get, that you know, going out of the wild, and it's funny to see the adults kind of making up the monsters. And then we get a story called Shudder, and it's about two girls who are trying to hunt down a specific creature in the wild, and they kind of end up having an experience where they capture it on camera, and sometimes when you steal the soul of a thing, it can steal yours right back, and they kind of have that dark experience that looms and follows them after that. And somehow it's also a really beautiful love story in the midst of all that, which is my favorite thing when horror can do more than one thing. And then we have a creepy story about a girl who lost her brother, and the thing that follows her home in her journey to find him, which is just a cute little, like, not cute at all, which is just a quick little 3-page story that comes into that or so. And then we get the continuation of the war, which is Garth Ennis's story at the back of all of Hello Darkness, which is all about a friends group that experiences, you know, the news that some stuff is going down overseas, and they're worried about what's going to happen. And then as they start to react and have different situations, we kind of just see that some of the darkest parts of war are our own experiences, and the way that we breathe and handle it and grow or stretch apart from each other as we go through that situation. So the horrors that we build ourselves get really, really dark. So all right, we've got Last Wardens issue 5 from Mad Cave. This is actually not the last issue. On the last one I was like, ooh, how are they ever going to wrap it up in one more issue? Well, they're not. That's the answer. So if you haven't read Last Wardens yet, it is wild and crazy. It is about a girl who, her brother went missing during the war, and she's been, the Vietnam War specifically, she's been waiting for him to come home, hoping he would. When he suddenly arrives one day, she finds herself so excited to see him that she doesn't notice that there's a lot of weird surrounding him, and now he has turned into a giant monster that is consuming all of her town. And she is having to deal with that while these people show up who say they're the last wardens who are supposed to keep monsters at bay, and they want her to get out of the way so that they can destroy this monster. There's so many cool, like, random monsters eating people, like, panels. And so she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I know my brother's still in there. Now, so are all of her friends and family and everybody that she's ever met. And so she's trying to fight for her town and to save whoever she can before it's too late. Now she seems to finally have a plan, so maybe in the next issue they'll wrap it up. Speaking of issues and wrapping things up, Lady Mechanica, The Devil in the Lake, issue 4 from Image, is our wrap-up to this current Lady Mechanica story. And once again, one of those stories, if you would have told me like 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, that I would be like, wow, this was really good, I probably would have not thought you were serious. But this was a really good story. I stand corrected. This was all about Lady Mechanica, who is out trying. She's kind of very much like a BRPD. Yeah, that's the way. She's trying, like, Hellboy kind of esque character who is going out and solving these mysteries of mythical and supernatural proportions. And she has been trying to find this ship's crew that has been lost in this lake that was supposed to be doing some research and never resurfaced as they disappeared. And she's been told that there is a dragon down there. Well, she's finally made it under the water herself and come to find out there is a dragon. But in his mind, he is just a baby dragon, and he just wanted somebody to play with him because he's been so alone all this time, and he's just needed a friend to keep him company. And so she decides, she can stay there and be his friend for whatever period of time, maybe all eternity that takes for him to not feel so alone. And somehow this issue is just like a bring your tissues issue, because there's so many feels related to this dragon and Lady Mechanica and the journey that they go on. And it's over. It was sad. It was beautiful. It was rare. I was there. All that. Oh, it's great. Defenders of the Earth, issue 4 from Mad Cave. This is part of our Flash Gordon universe, which is also expanding. You've seen some free comic book day announcements. We're going to see more books rolling out of this. But in this Defenders of the Earth specifically, Flash Gordon has kind of become a corporate bigwig who like has made peace by just kind of giving up who he is and just falling in line essentially. And the rest of the Defenders of the Earth are kind of trying to figure out how to best live their lives in the situation they've been left in. Well, that leaves Flash Gordon's son feeling completely and totally left out and abandoned by his father, and he gets himself into some trouble, and Flash in this issue comes to save him, only to find out that, shocker, all of the things that Flash has fallen into and all of the corporate jargon that he has believed has turned out to be not true. And Flash is now finding himself realizing that he's kind of been a stooge and he needs somebody, his friends, to help him out. And so now we rely on the Defenders of the Earth to finally all come together and maybe battle some familiar foes and some new ones all at the same time as they have to figure out how to kind of undo the stupid decisions Flash Gordon has made. Monster High, New Scaremaster, issue 4 from IDW. If you watch this show, you know that I love this book. I am kind of obsessed with this Monster High comic that is coming out. It's one of my favorite books on the shelf. And this issue is so great because it kind of continues the story in an almost Gossip Girl fashion. So now you've put Monster High and Gossip Girl together and you just win me over even more. It is so great. But if you haven't read it yet, you totally should. It has all of your favorite characters if you were a Monster High fan, but it is all about some weird stuff is going on. The headmaster of the school, or the Scaremaster of the school, has gone missing, and Frankie's dad has stepped in to kind of take over. And allegedly the school is safe as long as Draculaura is there in it, because her blood is what was used to save the school in the last problems it had. Unfortunately, though, we are starting to learn that some of these people that we've been told we can trust are not, in fact, trustworthy. And there's something going on with Draculaura that may be the, in fact, demise of everybody at Monster High. It's just cute. It's fun. It's actually really great storytelling perfect for, I mean, teens and tweens. Really, the tweens are the perfect target audience, but it's also really good for adults who were Monster High fans that want to relive some of that and have some fun. So you should totally do it. Oh, their Gossip Girl's name was Crip Crier, so she signs her little post. The back of the book included XOXO Crip Crier instead of Gossip Girl. I'm going to take another drink of this wine because that is a lot of books really fast. Ye old Buck Shack. It's fun. All right, we've got Minor Arcana issue 4 up next from Boom Studios, and this awesome Megan Hutchison cover. That's my girl. Way to go, Meg. So she's going to be doing some covers for this series, which I'm really excited about. I know she's been doing some tarot reads on her Instagram to go with this series as well, which is really cool to see her teaming up with Boom and Jeff Lemire. If you haven't read this story yet, it is about a woman who has a very large chip on her shoulder regarding her hometown and the small town feel of it, and her mom, who is the town psychic, who has been faking that she was a psychic, as far as this girl knows, her whole life. She has recently been forced to come home, not by her choice, but kind of by her choice. She's just kind of, being that kid that is mad about it, because she's come home to take care of her mom who has cancer. And while she's there, her mom's like, you also have to run my psychic off, like, counseling services. And the girl finds herself actually experiencing true psychic visions and being really confused by them and where they're coming from and how she actually has this gift, because of course she's believed that being a psychic is a fake thing forever. And there's something in her own mind that is haunting her and that keeps coming back for her, and we're still only getting little bits and pieces in it. But in this issue, she has a friend who really wants to be her friend. And is like, hey, let me help you test your power. Let's see what's actually happening. And she thinks that she has this weird vision that has nothing to do with anything. And as we piece it together and figure it out, it's really cool to see how this mystery continues to unravel a little bit more. Really great. I know that wherever Jeff Lemire takes this is going to have like some really prolific meaning at the end, and I cannot wait to see what he does with it. But I love seeing how he's kind of rolling her further into a big jumble of a person as he does it. Black, White, and Bloodshot, issue 4 from Valiant and Alien Books, the new producer of Valiant Comics. If you didn't know, your Valiant world is all coming back to you. We've got, I think it's 3 stories in this one. The first one is a story from Brian Azzarello that just kind of takes Bloodshot through what seems like a training, but is also just vision, like him just going through different fights and stuff, and he's kind of seeing what those nanites do for him. And I really just like the way that the images kind of roll through with that and how far he stretches it. And then there's one called Blood God, which is insane. And it's like about these people who essentially like worship the nanites and the experience of like believing that Bloodshot is like this god, or at least the technology that forms him is. But that one gets really wild, and it has some varying different art styles, which is kind of cool to see that. And it's kind of a little bit longer one in the middle, which I thought was a really great story to give extra length to, because it just gave you a whole new look at the character and some of the people that he interacts with. And then there is one from Mirka and Dotho, which is really cool as well. Which is just kind of like, oh, we're going to trigger you with different memories. And so basically, like, he's like, they can load anything into my mind because of all of the nanites in my body. And so if they do that, like, how do I know what's real and what isn't? And like, he's like finds himself like believing he has like a wife or kids or different things like that, and that he's going out to avenge them only to be triggered into doing exactly what they want. It's just another one of those fun black, white, and blood kind of things, but you know, bringing back Bloodshot into the world at the same time without you having to jump into the massive resurgence of the Valiant universe that's going on. Red Before Black, issue 3 from Boom Studios. So excited that this finally came in. This was, again, if you didn't hear the beginning of the show, we got 3 weeks worth of comics from Diamond at the end of the week, and so I'm so excited that we got caught up. But if you haven't read Red Before Black yet from Stephanie Phillips, this is a story about a girl who got, you know, on the wrong side of the law, was arrested, and when they bring her out, like, she gets out of jail for all the crimes that she did, she goes back to the drug dealer that she was working for, because the government has kind of made her this deal, like, we need you to spy on them, get some information. Well, the drug dealer's like, I need you to go after this girl that stole all of my money and all of my stuff, and kill her to prove your loyalty. Well, now these two girls have teamed up, and they are both trying to kill each other, and yet also kind of building a friendship that's going to send them down the path where we've got to figure out who's really the bad guy and who isn't. There is all kinds of wild adventures happening in this book and they all take place in Florida. So we even get some baby alligator cuteness to add to the story. There is this weird, like, understory that is slowly coming out, and we see it a little bit more in this issue, where there's some visions of strangeness going on that may be more than what we thought they were. Might not just be visions, might be something big going on in the story that we're going to figure out as it goes on. We've got Corvus, issue 3 from Dead Sky. Speaking of really big stories and crazy visions, this is one of them. This is definitely for fans of sci-fi comics, but this is all about a group of people who kind of have been pulled out from their different corners of the world and stuck into this, like, alien battle that we've been going through. But what's really cool is, like, at the end of the last one, they were kind of brought into this place where all of their memories, like, and everything, like, kind of get jumbled together. And so as they're trying to work their way out of that in this one, they each are forced to live, like, essentially their most terrible memory, but then it's like brought back to life and like continues from there and tortures them through this crazy stuff. It's wild. Like, each of them has to kind of also help the other one get through this experience, and you just learn like their guilt, their fears, their like saddest, darkest secrets, and then you learn that, like, this is kind of how the aliens that they're up against fight. And so it's like, how are we going to get through this if every time we experience something like we could be stuck in these visions, and they can get realer and realer every time we have them, and we don't really know how to get out of them. It's crazy. It's wild. Again, if you're a fan of sci-fi books, this is a really good one for people that I think they're missing right now. And if you're like, I kind of want to try sci-fi, this might be a good one too, to give you something different. Skin Police, issue 3 from Oni Press. Speaking of crazy plot points, in Skin Police, we are in a world where basically people can't have children anymore, and so they start like duplicating people in order to, like, making clones essentially in order to give people babies. And then they find out that all these duplicate people just explode after a certain point and, like, lead to all of this bad stuff happening. So, of course, like, the government's like, oh, let's not do anything that will save them. But, like, instead, let's just turn them into goop that we can make into food. And so they start rounding up all these duplicates, and it's like they have a whole police force just dedicated to them. Meanwhile, there's a whole rebellion of adult duplicates who are like, hey, that's actually, like, not the case. Like, you can we can survive past these moments. Like, you know, if you're a duplicate adult, if you're a duplicate kid, if you're like a clone baby, like, you can make it. They're lying to you, and now they're starting to stand up against them, and we're gonna see how that plays out for them as they continue this journey, because they just got, like, some major players on both, like, on the resistance side, but we just learned about some people on the police side that are, you know, gonna be there. We've got Toxic Avenger issue 3 from Ahoy Comics. This read so different after watching the movie like 2 days ago. I was like, oh, now, like, I see what you took from the movie versus the cartoon. Like, okay, cool. But Wild Adventure, that really just brings Toxie back to us and kind of makes it a little more modern and a little less crass, a lot less crass. Thank you, Matt, for that. Boris, not my husband. But this is, you know, if you don't know Toxic Avenger, this is all about a kid named Melvin who is very much bullied by the people of his town. And one day, a toxic ooze mishap turns him into a giant oozy monster. And he decides that he has this power now, so he should use it to help people. And it's kind of taking down a bunch of the bad guys. They are still pretty violent deaths in this comic, as they are in the movie. Some of the things that are changing, of course, though, is that this is very much built on, instead of it just being like the bullies pushing him into toxic ooze, he kind of, the town has a toxic ooze spill. So we're seeing a lot more problems coming out of that with, like, governmental issues, but also media issues. And Melvin was asked to be, like, a spokesperson for it. And he is apparently not doing what the media wants him to do because he's not playing their game. So they are going to bring in somebody else to actually be the next spokesperson if he can't play properly. And so we're going to see a little bit more of how that goes. Meanwhile, he's just trying to save people from all the bad stuff that's going on, which includes bugs and bug people, and very, like, he's very grossed out by the bugs. It's so funny when you see this giant toxic monster be like, and there's bugs. It's great. It's hilarious. I love it. You're all reading it. I can't keep it on the shelf. So if you aren't reading it at your local comic shop, you should, because apparently it is amazing. And I know that it's having, you know, great success overall. So if you are reading Toxie and you're a fan of the movie or the cartoon, let us know why you love the book, because I love to hear why people, like, what your favorite connecting points are. And do that with this as well, because we have Terminator issue 3 from Dynamite. I always have to say the issue because then I feel like people think I'm talking about the movie. This continues what started in issue 2. Well, this has kind of been a little bit of, you know, not the same characters from issue 1 to issue 2. Issue 3 is the continuation of that story in issue 2, which is following a man in the Vietnam War who is told that he's being evacuated, and he tells everybody in his unit that he has to go out and find his treasure. And we learn very quickly that that treasure for him is a woman and her child that is his family that he's made while he's been there, and he wants to go and save them. But while he's on that journey, he is spotted by a Terminator who registers him as the target that they must destroy, and so he is trying to get out as fast as possible before that Terminator can come for him. But we get to see, you know, him get to the chopper, but whether or not he makes it out and whether or not his family or the Terminator itself continue, we're going to see. I don't want to spoil anything because I feel like it goes so fast that if I show you anything from the back half of the book, you're going to see it. But we do get our moment of, as we all get in all Terminator properties, we do get to see a little bit about what that Judgment Day is going to look like, and which one it is. I feel like for Terminator fans, like, that's like so important to say, like, which Judgment Day are we talking about? We kind of get to see that in this issue. So, cause you know, John Connor does his best to stop it and or move it every time, but you know, does he actually ever accomplish it? No. Maybe. We've got Young Nomads, issue 3 of 4 from BattleQuest Comics. This is a spin-off of the Nomad the Conqueror story. You don't have had to read Nomad to read this, but it does expand your Nomad universe if you did. But this has been the story of two teenagers who are both kind of trying to find their place in their respective cultures. And one of them really just wants to live his life in his peaceful village, but his best friend wants to be one of the warriors that are out there in another village. And while they are out trying to figure out how he can do just that, they meet a man who is from that warrior tribe, and he's like, you have to take this sword back to my family, tell them what's happening, tell them that they need you to find this crystal that is essentially going to be the only thing that can save all of our families. When this young boy does just that, he ends up being teamed up with the daughter of that man, as they must be the two that go on this journey to figure out where the crystal is and how to find it. And now we're actually on that journey, and we are coming across a lot of very bad monsters and a lot of even worse people as we try to figure out, like, can these two work together? Can they get to where they're going? And are they going to be able to save the entire world? What I love about this book and most, the Nomad books in general, this is a double-sized issue, but it's still only $4.99, so you're actually getting this, like, a lot of comic right here for the price of a regular issue, and it's on fantastic paper. So we've got the Ignis Quadrant Part 3 from Band of Bards. This is another, like, 2 issues in one kind of story. This has been a really big universe build out in the last couple of issues, and so we are following a guy named Montana, who is, you know, that rough and tumble Han Solo kind of guy who's out in, like, the space cowboy essentially kind of thing, and he gets recruited essentially to help this woman who can't remember why she's so important, but she needs to get away from the bad guys. They've gotten some injuries along the way, and so in this issue they are actually, like, in the slums of this on this one planet, trying to get him the help that he needs. And while they're doing that, the doctors and the people that are working, they're not people, the cats essentially that are working with this doctor are able to actually help her regain her memories some and realize what exactly it is that she's connected to that's so dangerous. And they realize that in order to get the rest of her memory back, she's going to have to partake in, like, the raw version of this drug that they had given her to forget her memories. And of course, the only place that you can find that is the amount of it that Montana himself had hidden away inside of the casino of the worst mob boss, who was very Jabba the Hutt-esque on this planet. And now his, like, bounty hunter who's been coming after him, who's his ex-partner, has stolen the love of his life and is threatening to kill her. And so all of the stakes are high, and we must figure out if we can get there and we can save it. And we're gonna get parts of that in this issue, but we're definitely gonna have to keep going on for even more if we're gonna see how they solve the mysteries and the problems as it happens. This is really well done. Everything Band of Bards does is really well done, but it is definitely a fun, amazing adventure for, again, like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you would probably like it. But, like, old Star Wars is, like, the adventure part of it, like, because it's more, like, hunt stuff down. We got The Crow, issue 3 from Sumerian. I know I got really excited as I was talking. This is definitely a great one. As with all the Sumerian books that have come out about movies, they're not direct retellings of the movie. They're kind of like, what if we did something a little bit different? I do like that this is in black and white like the original Crow comics. And so it does follow a guy who has the Crow energy, very similar to the story of the first one, and he is trying to hunt down all of the bad guys who have come for his family, and he is doing that based off of not only himself and like the experiences he had, but like kind of all of the crows before him and the situations. Like historically these people are always the bad guys, and historically they've always come after these people. And you just get to see him, you know, be the Crow and do all of the supernatural bad guy fighting kind of situations that he does. And he seems to, seems to come to a head of some sort in this issue. And I don't want to necessarily give you too much of that. But it is leading into a new volume. So there's going to be the Crow with a new name coming out as the next series from Sumerian. So they're not leaving the Crow behind like they have with some of the other ones where it's just been like the one series and it's done. This is going to lead us to yet another Crow series. So if you're fans of the Crow, you definitely need to be reading that and adding it to your collection. Rockabilly Vampiro Apocalypse, issue 2 from Massive. That sounds like the most ludicrous, ridiculous title when I say it out loud, but I will tell you, this is actually a really great book coming out from Massive. Surprisingly so, when you have like a crazy off-the-wall name, you're always like, this could go one of two ways. This definitely goes in a good one. We've got a world where there is this really awesome musician that this kid who's a podcaster obsessed with him has finally had a chance to meet, only to find out that he is in fact a vampire, and he is being chased by this corporate guy who is all the wrong things and very much a call to some of them in the real world. But not only is he being chased by them, he is being chased by this motorcycling gang of nuns. Again, I tell you, it sounds ludicrous, but it actually reads so well, and it's all so believable when you're in the moment. It's fantastic. But they are trying to take down all of these bad guys, whether they're zombies or all these, not bad guys, but like paranormal things that they find to be the bad guys. I honestly think these nuns are kind of the bad guys when you read it. But these three, the luchador best friend, the rock star, the rockabilly vampire, and this podcaster have now become a unit who are working together to kind of stop this. And we get to see this wicked like demon hunter come in, and she is awesome, and I cannot wait to see her in the next issue to really get some more like her just kicking butt, even though again she's kind of like the bad guy, but she's so cool at the same time. Maybe we'll team up with these people eventually, I don't know. But if you haven't read this yet, it is a wild adventure and you should check it out. It's just fun. Liquid Kill, issue 2 for this newest volume, which I think is volume 3 at this point. Well, I guess it's technically volume 2, but the other one like ran for like more than the normal like 4 or 5 issues. Anyway, Liquid Kill, it's still the same ongoing story where we had a hotel that was on this island that a lot of rich people went to, that had a bunch of people kind of ransack it. There was like a operation that came in and broke into this hotel. We're still watching, like following along as some of these people are trying to get off this island, and we're seeing them kind of have this connecting moment. But for the first time, we're also seeing people from other places who are experiencing things. And so we get to see this girl who's kind of doing some investigation of the bad overlords of the area and trying to figure it out at the beginning. And then we kind of see how that connects into some of these people. This is not a story that you can jump into on this second issue right here. If you did not read the rest of Liquid Kill, you absolutely have to start back at the beginning. So if it's something that you're like, that kind of seems interesting to me, go all the way back to that first volume, because you will be completely and totally lost without it. The Hexiles, issue 2 from Mad Cave. Man, Mad Cave is just crushing it with great concepts coming out left and right. And this is another really cool concept that we're seeing. This is all about a random group of people who are all called together at a funeral because it turns out they all have the same dad. So they're all like half siblings. And turns out that dad is pretty much the devil, and these kids are all supposed to take their role within this demonic job that they're supposed to have. And it's like, basically, if you don't accept it, bad things are going to start happening to you and everybody around you. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so none of them end up taking their position in this family at the end of issue 1. And now in issue 2, we're kind of seeing the fallout of them not doing that. We're also starting to see that each one of them kind of has a special ability that they've gotten from this demonic parent of theirs. And so it's like, hey, you kind of like, you got to do what they have like assigned for you, or you're gonna have some crazy, we're gonna just show you some crazy stuff start to happen. It is a really great concept. I can't wait to see how it plays out, because we're essentially going to have to like raise a team over here of these Hexiles who are going to have to go against the darkness themselves but yeah, at the same time maybe have to do some dark things. I don't know. It's getting crazy. You got to check it out. The Fade, issue 2 from Boombox, which is the teen imprint of Boom. Though honestly, most of the stories that are coming out of that right now are really honestly, like, I have so many adults that are reading them because they're just such like great stories and concepts. If you didn't read The Fate issue 1, it's basically there is this TikTok trend essentially that you can build out like your imagination, like your imaginary worlds, the worlds from books that you love and things like that. Like you can go into them if you do this ritual. And this girl is really determined to do it, and it doesn't seem like it's working for her. And then of course at the end of issue 1 she kind of steps into that world. Well, we're seeing in this story her best friend, or in this issue her best friend, he has his whole experience of all the things he does when she decides not to come hang out with him because she is actually just trapped in that other world. And then he's like, okay, maybe I'll just try the ritual because I know she's going to ask me about it. And then we get to see him get sucked into this fantasy world and see where that kind of leads him. And it's kind of fun because it seems really exciting at first, but then we learn that there may be more to this world, and it might not be so fake, and it might not be as easily controlled as anybody is telling them. As with, you know, a lot of trends, it can lead you down some dark paths, and these kids are going to end up stuck in this world having to deal with all of these monsters and creatures that they had no idea were coming for them very soon. Thundercats Apex, issue 1, also from Dynamite. This is something that if you're already reading Thundercats, I think would be really cool to go into it. But I think it's also like if you wanted to just start a different Thundercats title and come in a different place, you could definitely do that too. This is all about a Thundarian who is living on this wasteland that is like essentially on this same third Earth that the Thundercats do arrive in, and he is there. He's already got like this, he's got this book that will tell him all about the history of the Thundercats world, so he knows that like there's a war coming, that they're going to get kicked off their planet because it's going to be destroyed. They're going to come to this place and they're going to like need it. And so he is going after a bunch of people who he knows if the Thundercats go to war with them that they'll be destroyed. And so he is trying to make sure that, I'm making sure that's not the spoiler page. He's trying to make sure that like he has that set up to be the one that's going to take over and like save these Thundercats before they get to this point. And he's got all the knowledge, most of the skill, and a very big secret that you're gonna find out as you read the book. So if you're reading Thundercats, I don't know why you wouldn't grab this too. And honestly, if you're not reading Thundercats, grab both of those. I'm gonna take a drink before I get to these number ones because there's a lot of them. All right. I am so excited to say this. Flavor Girls is back with Volume 2. This is Issue 1 of Volume 2, Return to the Mothership. This is from Archaea, which is a Boom imprint of greatness, honestly. I always love everything that they put out. And this is essentially just Sailor Moon. If you are a fan of magical girl stories and you have never read Flavor Girls, oh my god, please do yourself a favor and read it because it is so good. But they're all like fruit-based instead of like the moons. But we really do have all the same kind of personality types and dynamics that you get in Sailor Moon in these characters. And so in Volume 1, we had kind of our Sailor Moon character learn to come and join the team and get her powers and all of that. In this volume, which you could actually jump into right here because they do explain it to you enough to like let you know like what's going on. But in this volume, the girls are very like essentially their Sailor Mars type person is very much like, I have to figure out like what's going on. I feel like our lady who's training us, our leader, has been lying to us about something, and I think that I have found more information that she's been hiding. And so they go to this undersea place where they have figured out that there might be something connected to who they are and why they have these powers, only to get there and find out that there was probably a very good reason why they were not told about this place, and now they're in all kinds of trouble. But it's so great because the team dynamics wonderful. Each of the characters have so much to offer, and develops their own pace and like throughout the story, and we get to see a little bit of each girl's like internal and outward struggles. In this one we see I think it's Nicoya is how you say her name, but we get to see her having, which she's kind of like I said, like more of your Sailor Mars kind of character. We see her having her problems with her mom and why she feels like she has to be the best all the time, and where those like shortcomings and pains come from trying to just be like a certain person, and it kind of gives her more of a robust character as well. It's so good. Read Flavor Girls. I believe I did just order a new volume, and I think I already sold it this week, so we'll have to get another new volume 1 in because I think we already sold it. So we'll do that. Dead Samurai, issue 1 from Wake Entertainment. If you have always wondered why there aren't more Japanese feudal Japan zombie stories, this book is here to help you with that. That is exactly what it is, and it is incredibly cool. This is all about a guy. It follows a guy who is kind of like the leader in command with the like the ruler of this area, this village, and he is supposed to be protecting the emperor, I guess we'll call him. I don't think he's the emperor, but the leader. And a zombie outbreak happens, and nobody knows what that means because we've never had zombies in feudal Japan, and so they're trying to figure out how to fight against all of these people. And they're like, I don't know if there's any way to survive this. It gets wild. It gets crazy. There's, we've got to protect certain people. Things are happening, like the new family of the emperor is all in danger. I don't know. There's so much. I'm even going to show you this because everything is a spoiler because it's a zombie book, but everything's not a spoiler because it's a zombie book. But you get to see some choices being made and some crazy things happen, and it's just really good. If you like samurai stories and you like zombie stories, this is a great combination of the two.
Can you turn the book side to side? Because I really like the paper stock.
Oh my
this
God,
is
yes.
Maybe tilted back.
The paper stock on this cover is insane.
Yeah, back again. That's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, back. There we go. Yeah, like that. It's like kind of foil.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that into it. It's got a name because there's been a couple other books that have had it this year, and they've had the name for what that kind of paper stock is, and I can't remember right now. But yeah, it's got a little bit of that in there. And then it's been so great. But yeah, and I mean,
I want books to feel like.
And this cover is a Sienkiewicz cover. This is Bill Sienkiewicz on the cover. What? So that's why the art's so cool too. Yeah, honestly, check it out. This is what books should feel like. It's great. And the pages are all the thick gloss too. Really high quality. This is, I think, our first ever Wake Entertainment book that we've had, and I can't wait to see what else they have because, I mean, they're putting the quality into it and telling a great story too. All right, we're going to hit some Christmas for a minute. The complete opposite of the Samurai's zombie story. But we've got the Archie Christmas special. As always, it's a holiday. Archie is celebrating it. Here it is. And there's quite a few stories in there. The first one is a story that is from Sabrina's world, and it's all about revenge gift giving, because Sabrina is such a nice person that she decides to give even the people that don't like her presents, and now they're panicking, and so they have captured all of the gang to try to help them, to try to get their help to find something for Sabrina before it is too late to get the best gift for Christmas, because how dare Sabrina give a gift to people who don't like her, according to them. And of course, if you're going to need help finding somebody to help you with Christmas, you might as well call Veronica. And then we get a Jughead and Ethel story where Jughead is, his semi-private eye, Detective Jughead, trying to figure out what is going down in town, because it seems like there is some dark, dastardly Christmas deeds going on. And then we move to all of the superhero characters. Jaguar, the new and the old, get a Christmas story that is also including Betty and Veronica in their superhero uniforms, and I really like Veronica's superhero costume. It's so cool. So they've tried to figure out that. And then we've got a story with a Pal Girl, who's also from the Shield, the Archie superhero universe, and just trying to find like the perfect costume, or trying to go for an audition, but her costume gets ruined, and the only people who can save it are Betty and Veronica, because Veronica and Betty are the best at fashion. And then we have a story with the Shield, who needs help figuring out some Christmas capers, and he knows the only person who's going to have all of the knowledge he needs, because he's obsessed with the Shield, is Archie. And so Archie gets to help his favorite superhero save the day. So just fun. I know that they've really been trying to bring out like the Archie superhero universe some more, so it was cool that they threw some stories in here to kind of bring that into the world a little bit more. All right, Shiver Suspense stories as part of our EC return from Oni Press. This is a one-shot of Christmas horror. I saw somebody on the internet say, I don't understand why they made a Christmas horror book. And this is just a reminder that, historically speaking, Christmas has always had the best horror stories, including A Christmas Carol, meant to be kind of a horror story. So don't forget, Victorian Christmas was all about the horror stories, and we're going to tell you a lot of them in the next few minutes, because there are so many horror anthologies for Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas is about Christmas, not about Halloween.
Nightmare Before Christmas is, yes. So we have a mom who's telling some stories to some kids while they're waiting for Santa Claus, and she's kind of our crypt keeper person. And then the first story is The Last Ornament, and this is actually by Hunter, the editor-in-chief of Oni Press. And so I believe this is the story. I may have just messed that up. Let me look in here. Oh no, he's writing the overall. That's what it is. I think it's Jason.
You can take it back.
Jason Aaron is writing The Last Ornament. Hunter is writing the overarching story with the mom, telling the kids the Christmas stories, which is totally perfect for Hunter to write. It's so great now that I know that that's what he wrote. Anyway, this is The Last Ornament, and it is all about a Christmas ornament who is from has like the ability to have the magic, because he's from the old world where this woman is from, and she's had them since she was a child, and she had a whole bunch of ornaments, and as she's aged, she's kind of lost ornaments over time because her kids stopped taking care of them. And then the kids are like sitting there thinking like, maybe we should get rid of mom, like maybe we should just put her out of her misery. And she's like old and can't remember anything, and the magic of Christmas comes to help this woman. Then we have a story called Ghost in the Machine, and it is all about a guy who invents time travel, and is like, hey, and it's essentially A Christmas Carol. It's like, hey, I'm here, like I've come to warn you, like, let me show you your future. You're gonna die alone, and it's gonna be terrible because like you wasted all of your time inventing time travel. And they're like, yeah, but like I invented time travel. And he's like, yeah, but you die alone. And he's like, not seeing the downside here. Like, and so he's trying to, like, all these different hymns from different points in past are, like, all excited about the ability to create, like, time travel. It's so great. And then Jay Stevens has a story in here, which is all about a mom who is trying to figure out how to take care of her child. And she has to do whatever she has to do, including robbing a store in order to find the perfect thing to give her child for Christmas. And I'm not going to tell you anything else about that one. And then we have a story where they retell the gifts of the Magi, but it's the curse of the Magi, and a woman and a man each sacrifice the thing most important to them in order to find the perfect gift for them for Christmas, for their partner, only to find out that there is way more that goes into that, and it's wild. And then we get the wrap up of the Checking It Twice story, which is the one Hunter is doing, which is the mom telling the kids all about Santa Claus coming to town and, you know, what goes on with that mom and her story. And it gets crazy. It's awesome. What a great Christmas anthology, a horror anthology. Everybody should, you know, add it to your stocking. We're going to keep going with some Christmas horror anthology. We've got another one for you, and then I'm going to put another Christmas story next after that. But we've got Creep Show's holiday special for 2024. We've got, so you get 2 more horror stories that are all about the Christmas time season in this issue. The first one is about a secret society and the Christmas party and the things that they attempt to do, and all of the ways that goes wrong. It is, you know, it's so great because you're just kind of like, oh yeah, we're going to get this special prize and we're going to take this blood of this mummy and we're going to drink it and it's going to be wonderful. And except for you, because we don't really like you, and all the stuff that comes down with all of those bad, poor decisions that they make at this festive event that they create. And then the second story is all about a sleazy talk show comedian, like late night host, who is hosting his annual Christmas special, and the studio comes and is like, hey, you're not really doing great. The ending of that is terrible. We need you to make a different ending for the thing. Why don't you go back to your roots and bring back the puppet that you used to have when you first started as a ventriloquist? And you know, puppets in horror books just never really work out well. And so this is just another one of those moments. And remember, you should always be prepared for your Christmas special to take the worst turn possible. You also get a Martin Morazzo cover, which is Ice Cream Man. So I always love to see some Ice Cream Man style art in my horror specials. Powerpuff Girls Winter Snowdown Showdown issue 1, because it's a one-shot. It's from Dynamite Comics, and it's our Powerpuff Girls thing. If you didn't know, Powerpuff Girls Halloween special made my picks of the week, so you should always get the holiday specials from Powerpuff Girls because they're just fun. In this one, the Powerpuff Girls are each trying to find the perfect present for the professor for Christmas. He has also asked them not to cause any violence or mischief while the holidays are going on because Santa is watching them. But in their ability to try to keep the world safe while also not spreading any destruction or violence, they are having to learn new ways to deal with their bad guys. And they each go off on their own story and have to deal with it. And I love it because they're like, Blossom learned this lesson. And Buttercup learned this lesson. And then it's like, and Bubbles did whatever it was that Bubbles did. And I'm like, it's true, because she just kind of was cute. But they all worked so hard to find the perfect gift for Professor. And it's just a cute little Christmas special starring the girls. So, pick it up. One shot. You don't have to read the rest of the Powerpuff Girls series to know what's going on. We've got Belly Full of Heart from Silver Sprocket. And this is one of their the newest zine that they have, graphic novel zine. They're kind of, I guess it's more of a zine. It is literally called A Comic Book Ode to Ooey Gooey Homosexual Lovers of the Past, Present, and Future. And that's a great description. It's got it's all about, love in general and what it feels like to fall in love and how that can kind of impact you in the different places, like throughout the journey of being in love with somebody. And you get to see just like the things, like just different little couples having experiences of like, oh, like let's go to bed for the first time together, or like, let's live in this home together, let's share this food together. And it's just kind of just adorable and funky and weird all at the same time. Like the one that was just on the screen was actually about two trucks falling in love, which is fantastic. I love it. And there's this, let me see the one, where is it? I love this, is it the last one? Is that one? Yeah, there's this last like little story that's just like, I love all these things about you, and I love that like we have the same things, but they're kind of different and they're unique to each of us. I love going to just do this like basic human thing with you. I just love all the experiences we share, and like that's just like what love is. It's so cute. And there is stickers that went with it. So if you bought the book, and they didn't put the stickers in it, so it's just like a sticker sheet that matched it. But it's still really cool that there's stickers. I love stickers. Everybody should give stickers with their book. We've got Assassin to Princess Volume 3, Issue 1 from Dark Horse. I'm so excited this book is still going. I really want to see how this ends someday, but I also don't want it to end at the same time. It is one of those where you definitely want to start at Volume 1 in order to jump in, but this is all about a boy who is the son of one of the princes, but he is born out of wedlock, and so he doesn't have any of the power of his kingdom, except he has the actual supernatural power that all of that the king himself has, which is the ability to kind of hear and control, like, and push thoughts into people. But he's always focused his on animals, and for some reason for him, he's able to actually communicate with like dogs and horses and different things, which has made him a very great spy. And he is supposed to be training, in the last volume, he went through a training course, not only to become an assassin, but also to learn how to use a special gift to possibly become an ambassador and work in this special corps. Well, the person in charge absolutely hates him because of the fact that he is like a favorite of the king and is the prince's son. And so he, in this issue, the final test is starting in this issue, and he literally just dumps him out in the middle of nowhere in the most dangerous area for anybody to travel, and leaves him with no horse and no way of getting back, even though that wasn't supposed to be what the challenge was. And he starts having these conversations with his dog back home, and learns that some terrible things are going on, and he must fight his way back home, even if it's not what he's supposed to do, just to figure out if there's a way to save his friends before it's too late. Great story. We've got The Brood, Issue 1, and this is from Dark Horse and the World of Minor Threats. Kind of like with the Hellboy universe, the Minor Threats universe has started doing little mini-series for different characters within it, and you don't really have to have read Minor Threats to actually be a part of the stories that are coming out afterwards. But if you don't know, Minor Threats is all about the like sub-level villains, the ones that aren't like the big bads in this universe, hence the name Minor Threats. And this is following a guy who is kind of like a mega mind. He is one who just has the ability to, he's just the smartest person ever to exist, and he can ration out and kind of figure out anything. He just knows all of the stuff. Well, and he has reached that point in his life where he also knows that he is dying. And everybody he's checked with has found that it is in fact true. And so he is trying to figure out which one of his children will take over as heir to the throne that he has created as an underworld crime boss, as it were. And two of his children really want the position, and of course the one that doesn't is the one that he wants to give it to. But we learn that there is some stuff going on with that person, which is just why he is very much trying to get out of the family line. Really great setup for a story. Cannot wait to see where it goes. And again, if you didn't read Minor Threats, doesn't matter. This is just a great story to jump into, much like Barfly was. All right, Parliament of Rooks, Issue 1, From a Blaze. My only problem with this is that the next issue isn't coming out for a very long time. But I will say, this is going to be a book that, Matt, you have to read, because it is definitely all about crows. So it's a great start, and I really want more of this already.
Eisner badge.
There is. It was an Eisner nominee because it was for the digital release, because this has already released digitally, and so they're putting it into a print now. But it is all about a man who and a woman specifically, and she is on, at the very beginning, she's on her deathbed, and she is like, tell me the story of our love and all the, like, of how we met and all the things that we experienced. And so it kind of jumps back in time to his story of starting out, how he became, goes from being just this lord to meeting this woman who's the princess, and he's kind of this architect, and he comes in and he brings her these designs he's made for her to have a library. And she's like, it's such a great thing. We need to build for our community. And of course, the king is against it because the king doesn't believe that they need books. And so he hates the architect, and he doesn't want his daughter to associate with him. And he kind of kicks him out. And while this architect is out and, dealing with some things, some stuff happens. And he has some experiences with some crows, and some... a new life is born, and he must try to figure that out while also trying to gain the love of this princess that he loves so much. And there's some really, of course, some really great art, as Ablaze always has some really cool things in there. You got to check it out. Again, I got to the end and I was like, I'm so excited about this book. When does issue 2 come out? And it literally says like summer. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's already done. It's a digital. You already have it. Give me the next issue like next week. Why do we have to wait so long? I can't wait to see what happens next, though. And I'm just gonna hand you that. It's got crows. Matt's one of Matt's favorite animals. So just
weirdo.
I'm like, it's definitely for you. I like literally started reading it, and I read like one page, and I was like, well, I'm gonna give this to Matt when I'm done. You're welcome. Died Hard, issue 1 from Keenspot. Look, if you like anthropomorphic animals being crass heroes, have I got a story for you. This is definitely going to be the one that you want to read. It is all about the Easter Bunny, or as he's actually known, the East Hare Bunny, because he actually like saved the east side of the hare community, and they gave him the name East Hare Bunny. But people got that completely and totally wrong. And he is on a day off because his wife told him he needs to calm down and take a day off and just like not deal with things. And while he's out, he meets a young girl who her dad is kind of like that, like kind of like a deadbeat dad, but not really. Like, he's got a job, but he just kind of seems like he like is constantly trying to push her off so that he can go and do his job, not pay attention to her. And so he brings her to the museum because it's his weekend, so he has to, and he tells her she has to stay in the office. Well, the museum gets ambushed by some thieves who are breaking in during a gala. And the Easter Bunny is like, man, I gotta help that little girl. I can't let her suffer. And in the process, she's like, but you also have to save my daddy, right? You're the Easter Bunny. You're a hero. And so we're gonna see the Easter Bunny become that hero that he remembers being back in the war of the East Hare, and hopefully save this little girl. But he is not happy about it, and it is great. It's hilarious. You gotta check it out. If you liked Mitch from Scout, or if you liked my God, what was the other one that had a rabbit in it? That was also, I think, Scout, and it was like 3 issues. I can't remember what it was.
Junk Rabbit.
No, that was Junk Rabbit's not an actual rabbit. That's Image. It was another one. Anyway, it was also cool. It's kind of very much in line with those kinds of things. So the more Mr. Easter, that's the one. Thank you. I was like, it's also an Easter Bunny. Yeah. You win a prize, and it's that you get to read Parliament of Rook. Yay. In Bloom, issue 1 is out from Boom Studios. This is one that a lot of people were waiting for because it did have a teaser in Hello Darkness. And so it is here now. It's kind of picking up right along that same thing. Where essentially there is these alien spores that start growing out of people's bodies. And if you read the teaser in Hello Darkness, we thought it was a bad thing. We thought it was going to lead to like death and destruction. But of course, like as it starts happening to more people in our society, they're like, oh my God, I want to bloom. I want to be like the cool people on the internet who have the alien spores, and I want that. And so people start like hoping for the blooming, and it becomes kind of like a rite of passage, like if you've had it. Well, guess what? Just because it's cool on the internet doesn't mean it's really cool in real life. And there's a whole thing about like upcycling people and all kinds of like murders and stuff that are going on. And so now we've got some detectives who are trying to figure out like what exactly is happening, because there's some death, some destruction, and a lot of upheaval going on in the world right now around these people blooming. You guys got to check it out, because I don't want to spoil anything on this first issue, but as issue 2 comes out, I'm going to start spoiling more of it. So now's your chance. If you want to know the weird, crazy stuff happening in Bloom for the first time, read it now. Grab issue 1. All right. We've got Warm Fusion issue 1 from Distillery. There is so much in this book. Like, I was reading it, and I was like, man, that's got to be, like, the issue break. That's, like, a great cliffhanger right here. And then I was like, no, that's, like, not even halfway. And then I was like, oh, man, this has got to be the cliffhanger. And, no, it just kept going. Basically, there is a story of a young girl who, or not a young girl, a woman. She is a woman. This woman who is a worker in, essentially, like, a brothel. And, there's a police officer who is investigating a murder that is connected to a woman who, last known places that she was connected to was also this brothel. And so he has started his investigation, and he comes to talk to all these girls. And of course they're like, we don't know this person at all. We don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, look, some bad things are going on and you're all in danger. Like, you should help me with this. Well, our main girl, who calls herself Snow White, has decided that she is actually going to give him a little bit of information and kind of try to see what she can get out of him. Meanwhile, we learn about like this man who owns this corporation who supposedly like helps like solve people's mishappenings, like if something, like you're burned in a fire or something like that, like he's helping people, or at least that's what we're led to believe, because in reality he might actually be doing some experimentation on people that they're not asking for, and there might be some stuff going down that is not good. And we get to see a little bit of that from him, because again, there's so much in this issue. So we've got murder, we've got like underhanded, like back in business deals. We've got a corporate guy who's actually possibly like the biggest bad guy that you could also ever get, and who's doing like crazy experiments on people. And also he might be a little crazy, because there is some people he's working with that are monstrous of their own sort, and we have no idea. There is a lot. Read Warm Fusion, break it down, get ready for a big story, because there's gonna be a lot that goes down in this book for sure. And then, we have another holiday horror book with Through the Boughs from issue 1, or the one shot that it is, the holiday Yuletide special from Distillery, which is just, it's so cute on the
offering, right?
Yuletide offering, yes, and it's so cute on the outside, but not meant to be cute on the inside. The first story is all about these little goblins who their mom tells them that Santa Claus is coming to break into their home and do and be an evil like creature that comes to them and brings some gifts, and but they have to go to sleep, and if they don't, he won't come. And these kids break out in the middle of the night so that they can go play out, which is actually the day for them to go play in the snow. And they try to hide that they did it, and we see how that impacts their experience with Santa. And then we get a really pretty story about the Yule Beast, which is a giant cat. If you didn't know that, it's a story of the Yule cat, and I love it. It is beautiful, and I want to snuggle it. And that is the most important thing that you need to know about that story, because it's very short, and if I tell you anything else, it will end it, but it's so cute. I just want to snuggle the Yule cat. And then James Tynion gives us a story about an elf who comes to a village every year to wreak havoc on the people, and he's got an obsession with teeth and taking them from people and harming the residents of the town, and how every year they just want him to go away. And then we get this story about the zodiac signs, and basically how the winter solstice is trying to bring forth winter and in the days of long summer nights, and so they need Leo to stop making the party go on that Leo's been having since summertime, and they try to convince Sagittarius to stop Leo from throwing a party. And let's just put this out there for all of you who don't know the zodiac. If you send a Sagittarius to tell Leo not to have a party, all that's going to happen is Sagittarius and Leo are going to party together. Let's just be real. 100%. And then we get a story about the Goat King's son, which is about a little boy whose dad is essentially the king of this place where they have to go and fight this giant goat that brings forth the winter light, and something happens and the dad cannot do it, and so the kid must face it on his own for the first time as a child. And you get this all through the world with this goat chasing light streaking, and it's just really pretty, and also kind of crazy, as one would expect from a story in a book like this. And then we get a story about a woman who's kind of leading this, telling this kid this story, and what you should not do on Christmas, and what we need to be prepared for to happen, and the Yule light that comes for them, and something does come for them. And then I believe, I think there's one more. Is there one more? Oh yes, there's one really short one that's just about people, a people group trying to find a home for Christmas, and their goal to get home no matter what, to this new place. So if you are just looking for an IMAX version of a Christmas, not even necessarily completely horror, but kind of a horror-esque, a lot of it, most of it's horrific. The Zodiac one's not. It's kind of like a balance, because, it's got a lot of stories about Yule, which we don't actually see. A lot of the horror stories are all centered around Christmas. I like that this book is a Yuletide offering, so most of the stories are actually about the solstice and Yule in general as a holiday, which is really cool to see. Thanks, Distillery, for celebrating one of the other holidays at this time of year. All right, we got 3 picks of the week. First up, FML number 2. It's Dark Horse, right? Yeah. Honestly, this book is just really well done in general. I'm really excited about this story, but really the thing that made this a pick for me is we never get to see parents in teen stories who we get to follow their adventure and kind of see what they're dealing with. A lot of times, we just get to see the teens tell us oh, my mom's overwhelmed all the time, or oh, my mom's the worst. This issue actually shows us the world from that place, that mom's point of view, and we get to see mom actually struggle with all of the stuff that she's doing, and kind of what is going on with her. And so she's trying to raise these kids, and one of her kids has become a furry beast, and she's trying to talk to the kids, and the kids are in the middle of an active shooter drill practice at school, when she calls them, and it's oh my god, she's stressing out about what's going on. She's stressing out about whether or not she can get to the grocery store. She's oh my gosh, what about this? And so it's just, she's got to write her comic and deal with her comic that she's supposed to be working on. And she's oh, if they don't get it done, they're not going to pay me, but I don't know what to do. I can't deal with this. And so it's just nice, especially because Kelly Sue DeConnick is, a mom with kids and who are entering their teen years. It's something that she's really familiar with. And to put that into her supernatural fantasy, adventure coming of age story, giving us that moment was just a really great twist on one of those books like that. Doll Parts. This is from the Lovesick universe. Don't have to have read Lovesick, honestly, to read this at all. And this is issue 1 from Image. And this Lovesick was very, very, very mature. And while this is rated mature, it is actually, there is not all of the nudity and craziness that you see as much in Lovesick. But this was really well done. This is the story of a young girl who finds that she's afraid of everything. Her mom forces her to be a certain person. She is forced to take dance classes and participate in certain things, and always is around her mom judging everybody. She's her best friend's mom is the nicest person, but she's I don't like her. I don't want to be anything like her, because all she ever hears is her mom talk about the person that she is, and it's just because of the way she dresses. Her mom hates the other girl's mom just because she dresses revealing, and she's I don't understand why she needs to dress like that. Like, and now this kid is taken onto it. And like, there's like something going on, like there's a murder that happens and she actually possibly could have stopped it from happening. But her mom told her to never get involved in other things and to not talk to these people and to be like, and even when they're like, oh, give us any information you might know about it or whatever, they're like, you don't have information, right? And she's like, my mom gets mad at me when I have information about things. So she's like, no. And it's like, oh, that girl could have lived if the mom wouldn't have made this girl feel so bad. And she's like, I've come to a point where I'm afraid of everything. I don't like people, and I have no reason that I don't have any reason not to like. And I've never experienced anything, and I'm having trauma happens to me in different ways because there's some other stuff that happens in the book. And she's like, and I can't even tell my parents about it because my mom has just told me to not talk. And it's such a great kind of coming to learn about yourself story and kind of figuring out like who you are and who you want to be, and realizing that the things that your parents taught you don't necessarily actually reflect the truth, that like sometimes our parents and the things they tell us aren't really what's going on. And she kind of has this moment where she's like, I want to grow up to be like my best friend's mom, and I don't care if that means my mom hates me. And I want to grow up to be the kind of person who speaks up when something is wrong. And I don't care if my mom doesn't like that. And it's like really great to see her come into this. And I really want to see how this is going to connect into the lovesick world. But it's really as just like one piece, as like one shot, even if you read this as a one shot, because you can 100% just read this as a one shot. It's a great, beautiful story of a girl coming to realize parents' politics aren't necessarily the best way to live your life. The City Beneath Her Feet, issue 1 from Distillery. Another book that I have been waiting quite a long time for. This was one of the ones that was in the Distillery teaser when they first launched, The Devil's Cut. This is James Tynion writing with Elsa Cartier on art, who is the artist of Love Everlasting. So I've been very, very excited. And Jordi Belair, Eisner winning Jordi Belair on colors. But it's such a fun, funky story that I am so stoked about. It stars two girls, one who is, seems like she might be like some kind of assassin person. She's got like this company that she works for, and she's supposed to just, she goes and assists with assassinations and, other robberies and things like that. But we don't really get her backstory. She's kind of just like this aloof person who shows up and then disappears, but is such a cool character. You immediately like want to be her friend. And then at the same time, we've got our main character who is a girl who is a writer and has got this book deal, and she's got her advance already for the next book, and she's like, I can't come up with anything, and if I don't do it, they're gonna like, can they make you pay back in advance? Like, what do I do? Will I survive without it? Like, and she's like, my life is just boring. I don't have any stories to take from. Like, I've already written about all my childhood trauma in whatever way that I could make that happen, but like, this isn't the story that there's nothing for me to do now. And then their two paths intersect, and suddenly she's like, I have this beautiful story of meeting this girl who somehow shows up and then disappears constantly, but always has some crazy adventure to tell me about and makes me feel more alive than ever. And how do I like build this relationship with her? And also has, by the way, another beautiful library, and I would show you, but I can't show you that page on the internet. But if everybody should meet a stranger who they fall for, who gives them a library. I mean, that's just the way that is the lesson of comic books this week, is find the person who will give you a library, because that's the person for you. But this leads us to some murder, some intrigue, some mystery, and a great, big, crazy, wild story. And I cannot wait to see where it's going to go, because I know it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to look so cool the whole time. I love Elsa's art, and I can't wait. All right, we've got some more books in stock. This actually came out last week, but we do still have it in stock. Oh, okay. It was on last week's live stream. I mean, I'll show it again because it's in stock still. Gimme. Because it's talking about anthologies. Right, I was like, horror anthologies. This one's still in stock. We still have some Dread the Halls. We talked about it last week. It's got a lot of really cool stories in it, and you've got that Maria Wolf awesome Krampus cover, which, like, honestly, buy this and get one of the comic book showcases and just hang this up at Christmas time because it's so cool. Also in stock, we have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. This is the prologue to the new cartoon that is coming soon. So if you want to watch the show, get this and get hyped for that. And also, if you're just a speculator, buy it for the future because it's going to be important. We've got Red Sonja issue 16 and Red Sonja Death of the Dam number 4. We've got Infinity Watch number 1. This is all of the, we've had the Infinity Watch annuals, and now we've got like the Infinity Watch number 1. I believe is just a one-shot to go with, wrap that up. Heat Seeker Combustion issue 2. We've got the Facsimile of Betty number 8. We've got Black Lightning number 2 from DC. Deadly Trails number 4, which is a crazy like Old West kind of horror. Green Lantern 18. Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns issue 3. We've got the newest Batman Dark Patterns issue 1. We've got Batman and Robin 16. Conan issue 17. That is a thick issue. Dazzler issue 4 popped out this week. We've got DC versus Vampires World War V issue 5. And the Deadpool Team Up issue 4. We had, if you were looking for Petpool, that thing sold so fast. I hope you grabbed a copy. Incredible Hulk number 20. Amazing Spider-Man issue 63 with this homage cover to the Krakoa era of X-Men with the Mickey Mouse and friends. We've got Action Comics issue 1079 and the Superwoman special with that really cool foil cover. We've got Scarlet Witch number 7, and you've got your nice Aubrey Plaza you've all probably been waiting for if you're collecting the TV show variants, the Agatha variants that have been coming out. You get your nice Aubrey Plaza cover now. We've got Storm issue 3, X Factor issue 5, Uncanny X-Men issue 7. We've got some trades in stock. We've got volume 1 of Gotcha Man, which is issues 1 through 5. We finally have a trade for Pine and Merrimack, which is the complete story. We've got Surviving on Mars back in stock. This was super popular. We sold through all of it very quickly. We've got the X-Men 97 trades in stock. This is the cartoon, the comic that just came out when the cartoon was airing. And back in stock, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1. So if you've been waiting to catch up on Ultimate Spider-Man because you've heard everybody talking about it, that trade for Volume 1, which is issues 1 through 6. Wow, it's been a while since Marvel put 6 issues in a trade. It's issues 1 through 6 of Ultimate Spider-Man, so you can catch up. Again this week we've got Ladies and Non-Binary Nerd Night happening this Thursday night at 8 p.m. This Saturday coming up is Comic Creation Workshop, so if you've got some kiddos who want to learn how to make their own comics, bring them out. We've got a class at 11:30, we've got a class at 3:30. They are free and no sign up is required ever to join. They're always fun. It's a great way to like kick off your holiday break time, come out and just have some fun. Holiday shopping, you've got 6 Bat City days left before Christmas. 5 Bat City days. I was counting today. 5 Bat City shopping days before Christmas. So we will be open this Wednesday through Sunday as usual. Because we are closed on Tuesdays anyway, we will be closed on Christmas Eve, and then we will be closed on Christmas Day to celebrate Christmas. So this is your chance. This is your week. I know, that's crazy. It's already Christmas time, but if you need some comics or some manga or some, you need the Dog Man book with Big Jim before Christmas, you better get to the store this week. We will be open regular hours all week long, 11 to 8 Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 7 on Sunday, at which point we will be back here. And we are caught up on all of our shipments, so all of those comics are here. Hopefully this week they'll all be here again, and we'll be able to say the same thing next week when we talk about comics. I'm so excited. And again, if you have shipped us something recently, we will be talking about them. We had to jump all those new comics that just came in at the last minute, and so we are so thankful for all the things you sent us. We will be talking about them soon. Until then, I hope you found some books you loved tonight and that you enjoy reading them. As always, we will see you on Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. Until then, happy reading, everyone. Bye.